76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Is that you? I'm the CEO of 5 different companies. I wasn't born into it. We lived on welfare, but I wanted more. I created this show, The School of Wealth, helping people escape poverty like I did. I want to help you out of that consumer debt, teach you how to increase your credit score, teach you how to make more money at your current job or your current business, and then how to actually create generational wealth without changing your lifestyle. It is going to be a lot of fun. This is not like regular school. Hey, I'm Rondi Lambeth, and this is the School of Wealth. Hello, my friends. How are you guys doing? I am doing fabulous. I've been traveling, as you know, tons and tons of traveling. Already done three countries this year. It's May 21. I've done 3 countries, and just last week alone, I've done 10, 11 different cities. So I've been traveling even during the COVID pandemic, and lots of usage of my credit card, which kind of makes me want to talk about credit cards today, because how you use a credit card is extremely. Let me do something here real quick. Got a little issue with the preferences. Let's see if I can figure it out. Nope, I can't. Chastity's not in the studio. Her computer crashed on her, so I don't fix it, Chastity. I'm trying to figure out the camera angle. You guys get what you get. Anyway, so during this time, lots of people using their debit cards at restaurants. A lot of people using debit cards at dental places, and debit cards at gas stations, which is extremely scary because they can take your money, and you want to be using a credit card during that time. So today I want to talk about when you should apply for credit during the credit process. If you're a customer of ours, when do you want to apply for credit during the credit repair process? Okay. Because part of what you need to do to get your credit fixed, or to increase your credits rather, is you need to have 3 credits. 3 open revolving credit cards at all times. 3, not 2, not 1, not 0, at least 3. Now, if you have more than 3, it's okay. Today, I was looking at credit because I'm in the process of buying a house, and I was looking at the mortgage credit report, and I noticed for the first time in a very long time, I've seen a code, and it was code FICO code, I believe 17, too many revolving account. So it's saying that the reason I don't have an 850 credit score instead of having 807 is because I have 8 open revolving accounts. Now, I'm not going to close All right, I'm back. Is the audio any better? So can you tell me, Chastity? Looks like there must be a short somewhere between here and the mixer over there. But everybody good? Video stop, but sound okay? Give me a thumbs up or something if the sound is okay. Chastity had to go. Okay, perfect. All right. So I guess, should I start all the way over? What I was saying was I've been doing a lot of traveling. That's why I haven't been on here. And normally I would do this from the hotel room or the resort, wherever I was staying. But for whatever reason, I was flying on Thursdays. In fact, I looked at a flight today that I actually changed a flight coming up on June 10th, flying back from Florida to Salt Lake. I actually specifically made the flight so I can do my live from Florida. I'm going to try to do it anyway, if I can get on that flight. So what I was talking about was people are using debit cards at restaurants, hotels, rental cars, etc. And you really want to use your credit card for these types of purchases. And the reason for that is because if and when your credit card gets hacked, they reverse the fees, and the merchant has to prove that it was accurate and it's verifiable charge, that it wasn't fraud. With a debit card, you have to prove it, not the merchant. You have to prove it. And so imagine it's the 29th of the month. So here we are, May 13th. Imagine on, say, May 29, May 30th, you wake up and there's no money in your checking account. How are you going to pay rent? How are you going to pay your mortgage? You have no money. It's gone. What happened to it? Someone hacked into the bank's database and they took all your money. It's a debit card, so now you got to prove that it was fraud. Versus if it was a credit card, they simply reverse the fees. So that's why you don't want to use a debit card. But what if you have to because your credit's bad and you are part of our credit repair process? When can you get a credit card? And that's really today's subject, is when should you apply for credit during the credit repair process? I was talking about the debit card so you understand why you really need the credit cards. Not only for your credit scores, but you need the credit cards for everyday life to protect your checking account, to protect your money and your financial future. Okay. So you need to have at least 3 credit cards at all times, at least 3. Not 2, not 1, not 0, 3. What happens if you have more than 3 credit cards? What I was saying earlier was I'm getting ready to buy a house. And so today, the mortgage broker pulled my credit again before we go to closing. And for the first time ever on my credit, I saw a code. I think it was code 17 or code 18. And it was too many open revolving lines of credit. So basically, they're saying I have too many credit cards. And because I have too many credit cards, instead of having an 850 credit score, I have an 807. I don't care to have an 850 credit score. It doesn't really matter. Anything over 740 is great credit. There's no difference between an 840 and a 740. An 850 and a 740, you get all the same perks. Okay. So I'm not going to close the credit cards, because if I close them, it's going to affect my credit. The more credit I have, the thicker the file, the better it is down the road, the more credit utilization I have available. Because if I have 12 or 15 credit cards, that's more available credit. So when I max out the one credit card, it doesn't impact me as much. So when should you be applying for credit if you're in the credit repair process? Generally speaking, you want to get credit cards as fast as possible. So if you don't have at least 3, go to fortresscreditpro.com/credit-cards. So Chastity, if you put that on there, just make sure that's right. fortresscreditpro.com. In the middle of the screen says credit cards. Click on that. There's 5 to 7 credit cards on there. I say 5 to 7 because it's a live feed from banks, and so it changes every day. When they offer new credit cards, it pops up. When they take one away, it goes away. These are secured credit cards. Now, why get a secured credit card? Well, if you have poor credit scores, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to get an unsecured credit card. You got to have credit cards in order to have good credit. So it's like What comes first, the credit score or the credit cards? Well, it's a combination of both. And if you want to jumpstart it, to get it going a lot faster, you want to get secured cards as soon as possible. So if you're in the middle of a credit repair process with us and you do not have at least 3 credit cards, go to fortresscreditpro.com/credit cards and get to where you have at least 3. And then once you have those 3, you want to spend 5% a month, no more than 5%, at least 1, but no more than 5. So if you get a secured credit card, it doesn't matter if it's a $200 secured limit or a $20,000 secured limit. FICO doesn't care what the limit is. FICO only cares what the percentage, the utilization rate is. So a $20,000 credit card with a $20,000 limit or $20,000 limit with a $20,000 balance is horrible. A $200 credit card, $200 limit balance is horrible. But if you only put $10 on there, that's actually ideal. So 5%. Okay. So you want to put 5% every month on the card, 1 to 5%. If you don't use it, FICO ignores it. So you have to use the credit card. When should you apply for it? Anytime you have less than 3 credit cards, you need to apply for these cards. The reason I like the secured cards on my page is because they're guaranteed to give them to you. If you go to creditcards.com, Credit Wallet, Credit Karma, there's pre-approved cards on there. You're pre-approved. What does that mean? Pre-approved. That means you're not approved. It's pre-approval, which means before you are approved. So when it says pre-approval, $10,000 credit card, pre-approved, that means it's before you're approved, which means you are not approved. It just means you're on the list, on the marketing list. That's all pre-approval means, is you're not approved. You're just on the pre-approval list. So I don't like getting the pre-approval cards because you might get denied, and many times you do. So instead, go to the website and get the secured cards. FICO doesn't care if it's a $200 or $20,000 secured card. It doesn't matter. All it matters is how much you spend. I would rather see you with 3 $200 credit cards than 1 $600 card. Why? Because you need 3. So if you're in the credit repair process, or if you are not, and you want to raise your credit score and you don't have at least 3 credit cards, get 3 credit cards as fast as possible. Prefer through the website that I have on the screen, because you're guaranteed to get them. Okay. Now, one exception to that, if you go to Credit Karma and you look on the pre-approval list and you see one that says excellent chance of being approved, go for it. If it does not say excellent chance of being approved, do not apply for it. I've never seen anybody get approved. If it says good, poor, fair, very good, do not apply for it. It needs to say exceptional or excellent chance of being approved. Then you have a chance of being approved on that pre-approved card. Once you get the credit cards, you need to use them every single month. If you are in the credit repair process, or if you are not, and you are in the process of getting a mortgage, and you already have 3 credit cards, do not apply for more. If you already have 3 credit cards, don't get any more credit cards. Stay with the ones that you have. If you are in the middle of getting a mortgage and you have 3 secured credit cards, don't apply for unsecured cards. Do not close the secured cards until after you get your mortgage. I had some affiliates reach out and say, please do a video on this, which is why I'm doing it. The other advantage of getting the secured cards with the $200 credit limit versus like a $2,000 credit limit is you don't have to close those once your credit score gets higher. See, the temptation is if you get a $2,000 secured card, the moment you get an unsecured card, you want to close that and get your $2,000 back. But if it's a $200 limit, it's not that big of a deal to leave it open for as long as possible to make sure your score goes up, because 15% of your credit score is based on how long you keep your accounts open. You don't want to close that credit card to get that $200. You want to keep it open until you get up into that high 700 range. Once you're at 740, you can do pretty much anything you want with closing credit cards as long as you have 3 open ones. You just got to be careful. If you're in the 800s and you close a card, it's not going to affect you much. But if you're 740 exactly and you close 3 secured cards and you haven't replaced them, or you replaced them with brand new credit cards, you're probably going to drop down in the 680 range. So you want to be really careful with closing accounts. Generally speaking, don't close them. All right. I think that's enough about credit cards. Let's get into Q&A and see what's going on over here. Fortress University is going live June 1st. So we have 19 days, guys. 19 days. Fortress University goes live June 1st. I just finished today, about 2 hours ago, recording the last of How to Increase Your Credit Score series. So now we have, as of day 7, I think we have 34, 35 different segments in there already. And I plan on filming the rest of next week. So that way you'll have another 20 to 30 more segments in there. And then I'll continue to film every week until we have all 25 courses completed. But to answer your question, June 1st, it goes live. What do you get with it? You get the education, and you get free credit repair for life, and you get free credit monitoring for 6 months with any active membership of Fortress University. So thanks for asking. We have a couple people that can get in there now. If you want the credit repair beta version, you can do that. But otherwise, 19 days from now, it goes live. Let's see. It says you mentioned to get a Costco. You mentioned to get a Costco card, but I did it while you guys are working on my credit. That's okay. Did you get the credit card during the credit repair process, the Costco card? So Costco cards are great. I'm getting ready to apply. As soon as my mortgage goes through, I'm going to apply for a Costco card. The one I'm on right now is with Michelle. So we've been divorced now 2 years. So I want to separate that a little bit. We don't actually have the Visa card, but we have the Costco membership, because when we got divorced, we closed that account. But anyway, so if you got the Costco card, that's awesome. I would not apply for unsecured credit cards if you are in the process of getting a mortgage. So if you hired us to fix your credit and you plan on buying a house in the next 6 months, do not apply for unsecured cards. Get the ones at the website, fortresscreditpro.com/credit cards, because they're guaranteed they will give them to you for as little as $300 deposits. FICO doesn't care if it's secured or not. They look the same to FICO. They only care about how much you're spending. Next question is, I found out my report date for my credit card. Do you think I should leave a small balance to be automatically paid on the due date so it shows some credit utilization rate? So here's how it works with paying your credit cards off on the statement date versus the due date. If you are spending more than 5% a month on a credit card, then you want to pay it by the statement date. Or if you are getting ready to get a car, apply for any new credit, get a house, you want to do it by the statement date, not the due date. If you're not in the process of buying a house, getting a new car, or trying to get new credit, just pay it on the due date. It doesn't matter, because what's going to happen, your score is going to fluctuate, right? So if you pay on the due date, they report the full balance. So if you're over 5%, you're maxing out for the points, you're going to have a lower credit score. The moment you pay that off and it reports, you gain all your points back. So if you're not going to apply for credit, it doesn't matter. Like if I'm not applying for credit, I pay on the due date. I max out every credit card I can for all the points, and I don't even worry about it. Because I'm getting ready to buy a mortgage, I pay all my credit cards by the statement date because I want that score well over 740. Does that make sense? So statement date is only if you're trying to keep your score as high as possible because you're getting ready to get a loan. If you already got a house, you already got a car, you got the credit card you want, don't worry about the statement date. Okay, good question. You don't need to pay interest, by the way. You don't need to pay interest. So he asked, should I leave a small amount on there? You don't need to pay interest to get good credit. So if you're trying to improve your score because you're getting a house, pay it by the statement date and leave a little bit on there and pay that on the due date. Okay, but don't leave it on there and pay interest on it. I don't want you paying interest. Okay, good question though. Christopher says, what about closing an installment loan, $5,000, you only had it 2 months? Do not do that. So if I read this right, you have an installment loan of $5,000. You've only had it for 2 months. You're thinking about paying it off early. Do not do that unless you want to destroy your credit score and you want to stunt it for the next 4 to 5 years. Instead, Christopher, pay it down. So if it's $5,000 and you got a couple years left, pay it down to like $100 and then set up the monthly bill pay for $2 to $3, $5 a month or whatever you want to pay. Do not pay it off early. That will really, really damage your score. Pay it down to $100 and then pay a couple dollars a month via bill pay until it's paid off. Okay. What Christopher said, pay everything off exactly. Just what he said. He's been following me a while. All right. What else we got, Chastity? How can I start? If you mean on YouTube, says how can you start? How do you start with credit repair? Give us a call or go to the website, fortresscreditpro.com. Sign up for a free consultation. We'll call you or call the 1-800 number from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right there. Monday through Friday. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube after today, usually Mondays we have a meeting until 10 a.m. So really it's 9 to 5 Tuesday through Friday and then 10 a.m. after that. You have a credit strong loan. I missed that part. I read it as an installment loan for $5,000. That is a credit storm or credit strong. Credit Strong is an affiliate of ours. And the way it works is you get basically they report a loan even though it's your savings account. So they work really well. So let me ask you, Christopher, what's your credit score right now? So what is your personal credit score right now on average with everything? So that maybe that'll help me understand if you should pay that off or not. Okay. Because I know they charge you interest on your savings account. It's really good for someone who doesn't have any credit. It's a way to establish it. There's a couple other ways to do it as well that's free through Experian. And now Barclays and Wells Fargo are going to start picking up on it. I read today on Wall Street Journal that a couple credit card companies and banks are going to start issuing credit cards to people with no credit score based on what they have in their checking account. So it's almost savings and checking account related. So as long as you have X amount of money in a checking account, you can get a credit card with no security. So we'll see what happens with that. But Christopher, what is your current credit score? If you can post that on there, I'll see if I can answer that question. 630, 640. Man, I think, and you probably don't have any other installment loans. Do you have other installment loans, Chris? So let me know if you have other installment loans. And you can actually come live if you want, then we can actually talk. Chastity, if you'll share the link so people can get on there if he wants to come on. I'm reading somebody else's question why Christopher tells me if he has any installment loans. Chastity, pull up the one right above Christopher's credit scores. There you go. Can you explain negative AM? Negative AM. Oh, yeah. Cool. Negative AMs. So here's how negative AM works. Let's say you have I'll pull up my calculator right now. If you don't have this app, I highly recommend it. It's really cool. It's called Easy Calculators. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do a loan calculator. I'm going to put in, I don't know, $100,000 student loan at 3.5% interest for 20 years, because that's usually what they are amortized on. Okay. So we got $100,000, 3.5% interest, 20 years. If I click on calculate, that's a $579 payment. Okay, $579. Student loans are negative AMs. So if I pay $579 a month in 20 years, that $100,000 loan would be paid off, and I would have paid roughly $40,000 in interest. Okay? Does that make sense? $100,000, 3.5% interest for 20 years, $580 a month. After 20 years, I would have paid a total of $140,000, $40,000 in interest. Here's how negative AM works. So with that, of that $580 that I'm paying, the first month, $291 goes towards interest, $288 goes towards principal. The following month, $290 goes to interest, $289 goes to principal. The next month, $289 goes to interest, $289 goes to principal. The next month, $289 goes to interest, $290 goes to principal. Fast forward, we're 10 years into it. $580 payment, $172 goes towards interest, $406 goes towards principal. That is a regular amortized loan. Here's how student loans work, because they're negative AM. Instead of your payment being $580, it would be somewhere around $300. So if you're only making $300 and the interest is $291, how much is going towards principal? So you're making $300 payment, $291 is interest, $9 goes towards principal. Negative AMs, the interest rate is higher than the payment. So a negative AM loan on a student loan, instead of being $580 a month, it would be like $200 a month. So nothing goes to principal and $91 a month goes to interest, which means the following month, it's no longer a $100,000 loan, it's $100,091. You make your payment, another $90 goes towards interest. So now it's $100,180. And every month it goes higher and higher and higher. Case in point, my girlfriend's got a student loan like $35,000. When I first started dating her a year ago, it was about $35,000, somewhere in there. Today it's over $40,000. She's still making her payment, but it's a negative AM loan. Negative AM means your payment is not even covering the interest, and now they're compounding on top of you. So that's what it is. All right, let's bring Christopher on. Let's see how to do that. I don't know if I do that, Chess. There we go. How you doing, Christopher?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good, good. So your question was, you got a Credit Strong account, and it's a $5,000 Credit Strong?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you got 620, 630, 640, somewhere in there. How many other installment loans do you have?
All right. I have the Credit Strong. I have Self, and I have my account with you.
Okay. So I would keep the Credit Strong account. The
Okay.
reason why is if you close it, it's going to hurt you because you don't have any other installments.
Okay.
Now, do you own a vehicle?
Yes, sir. I paid cash for my car.
Okay. What is it? What kind
The
of car?
it's a 2015 Nissan Altima.
Okay. How much is that car worth?
Probably about 25, and I paid 56 for it.
It's worth 25,000 or 2,500,
2,500.
and you paid 5,600 for it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you've owned it for a little bit.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Okay, all right. So it's depreciated a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right. Here's what I would do. Who do you bank with? You got any credit unions in your area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you bank with them?
Not not at this time, but I'm if you tell me to do it, I'll be happy to do it.
Who do you bank with now?
Wells Fargo.
Okay. Wells Fargo's a little tough because they're such a big bank. It's hard to get through regulation. Give you an idea. About 2, 3 years ago, I applied for a Wells Fargo credit card for like a $5,000 card. They turned me down. The following day, I got my $2 million card from American Express. So they're weird to deal with. I would go to a local credit union or a local regional bank. Where do you live?
In Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. There's probably a small regional bank there or a credit union.
Yes, sir.
I would go in and get a checking account, savings account. And then I ask them, say, look, I'm trying to build my credit. Will you guys give me a signature loan if I give you the title to my car?
Okay.
Okay. So you take the title of your car in and you get a loan for $1,000.
Okay.
It's worth 2,500. They should give you $1,000.
Okay.
And you ask them to finance that for 4 years.
Okay.
Okay. I don't care what the interest rate is. Could be 100%. It doesn't matter. So let's say it's 10%.
Okay.
They're going to give you $1,000 loan on your car. Now you're in debt, $1,000 technically. 10% interest would be $100 a year. Let me ask you: would you pay $100 to get a 720 credit score?
I sure would.
Yep. So now what I want you to do is get the loan for $1,000.
Okay.
The following month, they're going to give you $1,000 in cash. You give them the title, they give you a loan for $1,000. They give you $1,000 in cash. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
The following month, you write them a check for $900,
All right.
and you pay down that $1,000 loan to $100.
Yes, sir.
Now at 10% interest, how much are you paying a year?
Yeah.
Less than $10.
Right.
This works every single time as long as you are not on automatic payments.
Okay.
You cannot be on automatic payments with them, ACH.
Right.
So they say, hey, instead of it being 10% interest, we'll do it at 9% interest if you do ACH. You cannot do ACH because it screws this up.
Yes, sir.
Because the following month, they're going to take out your payment, which then pays off the loan.
Right.
So what I would do is I would do that, and then you can close your credit store, your Credit Strong. I don't know how much it's costing you for Credit Strong. It's a great program. It works.
Yeah,
really
I'd like to talk to you more about that. Man, I opened this. I went on there and I read the reviews. I read how their program works. I opened the account up, and I've been making my monthly payments and actually been trying to pay down on the interest. And the first 30 days, I paid my payments like $56.
Okay.
When they add their little $2 for making that payment, so that brings it up to $58. And they won't allow you to make any extra payments because
Yeah.
I've tried that and they keep rejecting my payment.
What I would do is, if you can close it and get your money back, go ahead and close it once you get your installment loan from the credit union.
Yeah.
Okay. Do that with the credit union. Try to get a 3 to 4 year loan. Pay it down to $100. Set it up for $2-3 a month, and bill pay after that.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming on. I got another person here, Ivan. If you want to come on, thank you, Christopher. Appreciate it. What's going on, Ivan?
Rondi, what's up?
Hey, good to see you.
First and foremost, I just want to say, man, I found you through a friend in my Discord group, and then I found your podcast on Spotify, and
Okay.
I basically ran through every single episode that they had in about, I don't know, 2 weeks time, but they're long episodes. So I've been reading more about, like, I read a lot of books from your website, Tax Free Wealth. They're all in the back there.
Okay.
Reading about more cost segregation, Section 179. It's awesome that you're helping people out with this. Just wanted to get that in the clear. Especially me, I'm young, so I'm loving learning about all this.
Cool. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask actually, your courses. I plan on getting the platinum package because that's just seems like the best, bang for the buck. It has everything in there. I'm wondering some YouTube videos that you put out about a year ago concerning like business credit. Are they going to be included in the platinum course or with the credit repair process, or how are you going to?
No, they will be an additional. So it's going to be an add-on. Right now, I'm selling the business credit for $3,000 all by itself. The Platinum Fortress University course was going to be $2,000, and then you're going to be able to add the business credit on for an additional $1,000. So you'll get basically $2,000 off. So it'll be an add-on, and then we're going to do live every 90 days. We'll do a live event. There'll be additional fee on that just to cover some of the stuff that we're doing. Those will be held in Vegas. So the reason we haven't done it is because of COVID, but those will be 3-day events. Every day we'll do something fun, not just business credit. So like we'll go to the just south of Vegas is a racetrack. So we can go race Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, and I'll pay for all of that stuff. So basically you go for 3 days, no cameras, no phones, and I kind of give you some stuff that I cannot say publicly or that can be on social. And then we'll have fun at night. So to answer your question, no, they're an extra $1,000, and then we'll do the live events on top of it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on. And you'll be happy to know from about 2 weeks ago, the Delaware LLC has been disbanded for the Wyoming one, if you remember that question.
Wyoming's the way to go, man. They actually just created a brand new type of entity specifically designed for crypto and blockchain. So only Wyoming has it. Wyoming is on the forefront. My girlfriend is actually working with the University of Wyoming and politicians. She just got back from Washington, D.C., meeting with people there to put systems like the DoD system on her blockchain software. So Wyoming's a great place to be. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Yep. So Rob has a question, Chastity, about business credit. I think I got everything else about that. Here we go. Rob says, I wonder if that's Rob Allen from Canada. Hopefully. But if not, I can't see your picture, so I can't really tell. It says business credit. I did the basics and have a Chase Inc. card, but how do I scale and get more business credit cards? Should I do things like Uline? All right. So Uline is a vendor that is in wave 1. So there's 5 different levels or waves, if you will, tiers with business credit. Tier 1 is Uline. Uline, Granger, Gepler, Quill, Pitney Bowes. I can go on and on and on. We have hundreds of them in our portal that are wave 1 or tier 1 vendors. You have to do tier 1 before you can do tier 5. You can't skip 1 and go directly to 5. Chase Inc. would be a tier 5 account. And I'm going to guess, Rob, that you have a personal guarantee on that Chase Inc. card. I'm going to guess that because you skipped 1 through 4. Most likely you skipped it. So to answer your question, yeah, you need to do Uline. Because what happens is if you skip 1, 2, 3, 4, tiers 1 through 4, you go right to 5 and you get business credit cards, you're going to personally guarantee them. And now they're just a personal guaranteed card. So you don't get any of the protection that you would with a business card, with a true business card. So I would do tier 1, Uline, Granger, Quill. You need at least 3 of them reporting to Dun & Bradstreet. After about 90 days, you'll have the equivalent of an 800 FICO called a PAYDEX score. You'll have an 80 PAYDEX. That's what the banks look for. So when you go to apply for new business credit in tier 2 through 5, they're going to want to see what your DUNS number is, your DUNS score, your PAYDEX score. If you don't have any tier 1s, Uline, Granger, Geplers, you're not going to have a PAYDEX, which means you're going to get denied a non-personally guaranteed credit card. Great question, though. Let's see what Gino's got. Oh, Tom's first, I guess. Tron. Okay, missed $11 payment on credit card. I don't use, my credit score dropped. Man, you know what I talked about today in one of the videos I just finished for Fortress University? Is this. That was one of the segments. Please, if you are listening to this right now or watching it, when I am done, go to Bill Pay and set up Bill Pay for all of your credit cards. Go to every single credit card you have and set it up for automatic payment, to automatically pay it, your minimum payment due every single month, a day before the due date. It's free. Go do it. So what's going to happen is you missed $11 payment on a credit card. I talked about this today in the segment. Almost always costs from annual fees. So like 2 days ago, I applied for a new Marriott Chase business card because I get 15 free nights at Marriott's. I get a whole bunch of other stuff with it. It's got a $95 annual fee. Let's say I don't use that card. I'm not using it, therefore I shouldn't have a payment until the annual fee hits. And when the annual fee hits, they're going to take that $95, divide it over 20 years, charge me interest. And now it's a fee. And then miss the payment because it wasn't on automatic payment. So go to every single one of your credit cards tonight and sign up for Bill Pay to automatically pay the minimum payment. So this never happens to you. Now, can you fix this? You can fix it. If this is the only thing you got to fix, you don't need to hire me. You never need to hire me. It just makes it easier. Here's what I would do, Tron. I would call them and ask them to waive the late fee. Okay? Call them and ask them to waive the late fee. I know they said, I can see that you said, I called the bank and they said you can't do anything. So if you're listening to this, Tron says, I missed $11 payment on a card I don't use. Annual fee showed up. What's the best way to get it removed? I called the bank and they said they can't do anything. I'm going to let you in on a secret. And if I got any credit repair people on here that do credit repair and they're just trying to learn, here's a good one for you. There's what's called the CARES Act. CARES Act got started because of COVID. That's what's giving all this money out, the CARES Act. It also changed the Fair Credit Report Act. So banks couldn't legally report from essentially March 1st until July 1st. Any late payments at all, regardless if you were late or not, they couldn't report it because of the CARES Act. In the CARES Act, it states that if the bank makes any accommodation whatsoever and you catch up the payments, they have to remove all of the previous late payments. So what's that mean? If you call the bank and ask them to waive the late fee, and they waive it, the CARES Act now requires them to remove the late payment. Let me repeat that. The CARES Act states that if the bank offers you accommodation of any type, that once the account is caught up and current, they must remove the past delinquencies and replace them with positive payment history. So here's what I would do. I would call the bank, ask them to waive the late fee. If they say, no, we can't waive it, just say, look, can you just take $1 off? Something. Just meet me somewhere. Meet me somewhere. So if it's a $30 late fee, look, I'm happy to keep the account with you. I'll start using it. Can you waive the late fee? As long as they make any type of accommodation whatsoever. If they won't waive the late fee, ask them to change the due date. You can do this any day, anytime with the credit card. Your due date's on the 1st. Say, hey, I get paid on the 1st. Can you change it to the 2nd? Sure, no problem. That is an accommodation, which means they legally have to go in and correct the late payments. That's what I would do. Okay. So CARES Act says that they can't charge late fees during that time, and that's now expired. So it expired in July. So what's we got? Now, you're in Canada. I don't know if it's the same. Should have started out that way. Here's what I know with Canada. Because it's a socialist country, you got like 8 banks. You don't have the Fair Credit Report Act. You have the Fair Credit Report Act on steroids. Getting your credit fixed in Canada is extremely easy if you simply just dispute it with Equifax and the banks. If you just become a squeaky wheel, they're just going to fix it. That's the primary reason we have not got involved with fixing people's credit in Canada. Is it is so easy that I didn't feel right charging people for it, even though you were earning that money. There's more people in California alone than all of Canada. So we focused on where it's hard to fix credit, because in Canada, I fix credit for my friends in Canada. It literally is you send a letter and they fix it. Now, when you talk to the bank and you ask them to fix it, they're going to say they can't do anything about it. It's because the banks are required to report accurate information. So you asking them to report it that was paid on time is not accurate. But they cannot report anything at all. So you can ask them just not report anything. If they've already reported it, then you got to try something like the Canadian version of the CARES Act. I'm sure that Canada has a version of the CARES Act that says if there's any accommodation. I've just Googled it, but I'm sure it does. Look at Equifax's website. It'd be, I think, equifax.ca instead of .com. But great question. For all of you that are in the States and just heard that part on CARES Act, there's a secret that we're using. And as of this morning, we've used it now, because I logged in today, 409 different clients. So probably around 4,000 times we've used this already successfully. So it's a really cool tool. Okay. Rob says he's in New York City. Yeah. All right. So how do I get late payments off my credit from 2009? I heard if I consolidated them all, they all fall off. Is that a good choice? All right. The only time they fall off is when it's a student loan after you made 9 consecutive payments. Consolidating debt does not fix the late payments. Think of the late payments like wrecking your car. Getting Bondo on it does not replace the fact or eliminate the fact that you wrecked it, right? You just can't see it. It's kind of similar to credit repair. It's still there, you just can't see it. So if you have late payments, Rob, give the office a call tomorrow and get enrolled for the credit repair, and we'll work on getting those late payments removed. The only time they ever fall off on because you made payments is on student loans after 9 consecutive payments. But if you consolidate the student loans into one, doesn't count. It has to be an open account. John Carter, happy birthday, John. John Carter from Canada. See what he says? Very easy to fix credit. He has a CDIC that ensures that our money in the bank, whatever that means. What else? All right. Equifax is the big bureau in Canada, but you can just look on your credit report and see what they're doing as far as a tri-merge or quad merge or one merge. So, and again, many banks don't report to all 3 bureaus. So you don't have to dispute it with all 3 bureaus if you're in the States if it's only on one. Okay. Rod Frakes from Facebook says, I have 3 credit cards. One's closed due to divorce, under 30% limit. Does this still count as 3 credit cards? No, it doesn't. They got to be open. It does count against your utilization rate, but it does not count towards your open credit card. So you need to get one more. And what's going to happen by getting one more and only spending a little bit of money on it, it will lower your utilization rate because you're at 30% on the old credit card. If you get a new credit card, that 30% will go down because you'll get more credit available as long as you don't use it, right? Spend a couple dollars. Great question. Well, you can see my TV's changed, which means I'm over an hour, but they've been on. So let's see what else we got here, guys. I think, Rob does say, yes, he has a personal guarantee, doesn't show up on his personal credit. Okay. So what happens with business credit cards is if you skip tiers 1 through 4 and you go right to 5, which is applying for credit right away, you'll have a personal guarantee, and that credit card may or may not report to your personal credit. In his case, Chase is not reporting to his personal credit, even though it's personally guaranteed. I have a way to have it report. I guarantee you, if you do something, Rob, it will report on your personal credit. Don't recommend you try it, but I guarantee if you miss a payment on that business credit card or the personal guarantee, it will report on your personal credit. The late payment will. They don't report the positive payment history, but they will report the late payments. So, all right, guys, it looks like I got through all the questions. I appreciate all of you. We're going to wrap this up. I will see you next Thursday. Next Thursday, I'll be home. I've scheduled my flight afterwards, so I will be here to get our call done next Thursday. If you have topics that you'd like me to talk about, send me a DM wherever you're at. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Send me a DM on what you'd like me to talk about, and I will talk about it. Have a good day.